say when you started out that we've got to do something about the deficit. And I thought I heard you say that we cannot tax ourselves out of this problem. Now, we've got to do something about the deficit. It's going to cost us between, well, we ought to be spending about $1 to $2 trillion on infrastructure improvement. Are you going to support increasing the deficit and borrowing that $2 trillion? Do you figure to increase taxes? Or do you have a third option?
First off, it's time to bring our men and women home. Okay. We're still going to have some presence, particularly through our State Department. I really believe in interaction and staying involved on a global scale. That's the only way that I see proper for the future of our country. But I was opposed to the war in Iraq from the get-go. I think that the war in Afghanistan initially was the right war. We were attacked, but bin Laden is dead. And I give the president some leeway at the table with all the intelligence, not me. But, you know, as long as they're not a haven for terrorists who want to commit atrocities against us, it's time to bring our troops home. There's a thing going on here that Eisenhower in his wildest dreams never saw, because he talked about the military-industrial complex. We've privatized this war. This is an area where, now I don't want to spend much time criticizing the president. It's time for us to start altering our course as we head into this election season. But George Bush went to war on the credit card with private sector folks fighting the war, and our president has done the same thing. We need to stop the contracting that's going on in Washington, because here's what happens when you've got mercenaries for hire fighting a war. They do what's natural. They hire lobbyists. It's their right under our Constitution. And they go petition their elected officials to do what? Support their clients by getting more contracts and keeping those contracts for weapons, whatever that contract may be going. And it creates a dynamic that is extraordinarily expensive. Puts us in constant war around the world. So it's a peace dividend, if you will. We let the Bush tax cuts expire, at least for those who make $250,000 or more a year. We flatten our tax system. I don't support a flat tax, but we need to make it more simple so that it's comprehensible. We need to have incentives, and this is a nice part of the president's job, though, to incent companies to invest here. Because we know that corporations are doing very well right now. They're doing very well. And make no mistake, corporations are not people. Okay? But people are people. It's just like when the Supreme Court says that money and speech are the same. No, they're not. Money's money, speech is speech. So we need to incent them to invest here and stop the investment overseas. Doesn't mean they don't invest overseas. They do it in a way that helps create wealth in the United States of America, not overseas. So it's a combination. I'm in favor of removing subsidies on all oil and gas. I believe heavily in investment in nascent technologies. That's an appropriate role for government. We've really dropped the ball when it comes to research and pure science. That is actually a wealth creator. But after that, heck, I don't even know that we need subsidies for wind and solar any longer. Let's let everybody compete for energy. You know, let's try capitalism for a change. And I think that creates wealth. And infrastructure is a proven wealth creator. The last major infrastructure project in this country, who can tell me what it was?
Interstate highways.
There you go. More than 50 years ago. And actually, you know who one of the principal sponsors and creators was that? Dennis Chavez, but that's it. No relation.